Today I'm going to show you how I made this mythical creepy creature. Welcome to Festive Farmstead's Haunted Edition. The first thing that we did was build this frame. It doesn't look like much right now, but this is going to be the ribs, backbone, and tail of the creature and neck. My son took off each piece individually and heated them up and bent them to a curve so that they would form kind of a rib shape to hold the material that we were going to use for the creepy creature. The part that is down right now is actually going to be the neck, and the part that is up is what's going to be the tail. You can kind of see how it's taking shape. Then I put this pool noodle on there and I notched it out, hoping it would look like vertebrae and give it a little volume. However, after all that work, I'm not sure if it was really necessary. Then I got this Christmas tree skirt that looks a little bit like fur, and I cut that up into shreds of pieces. I painted it brown and red and a few other colors. I also added some other fabric and some plastic that I'm going to paint to hopefully look like intestines and other things that are hanging down. It looks pretty rough right now, but it'll start to come together. The piece right there is the tail, and I also have the back legs, the hips, where the back legs are going to come down just for it to stand on. I use zip ties, but I also use these fabric pins. I use them a lot when I'm attaching fur to pool noodles because they work really well. You just screw them through the fabric and into the pool noodle, and it holds it perfectly into place. It's one of my favorite tools to use. The pins have a clear head on them. With this white fur, they really were easy to hide down inside the fur where you couldn't even see where the pins were at. Then I took an owl mask and I'm going to spray expanding foam caulk inside the mask. So I want to tape up the holes so that the foam doesn't come out. I'm not going to tape up the holes in the nose because I'm not going to put that much foam in it. It's important to remember when you're putting the foam in there to only put a small amount in at once because it needs air to dry, and these rubber masks are not very breathable. If you've ever worn one, you know that air does not get in there very well. It stays pretty moist. I thought that I put just a small amount in, but I discovered later that even that was too much. You really need to do it a little bit at a time. I'm going to just hang this up to dry, and while that is drying, I'm going to also use the foam to make some guts. I took some plastic and I misted it with water. The reason for misting it with water is so that the foam will peel off of it real easy later. Then I took the expanding foam caulk and just sprayed it on there in what I was hoping would look like guts or internal organs. You don't need to spray very much on there, and you don't need to get perfect about it. It will expand and change its shape. I'm going to set that aside and let that dry also. While that was drying, I went back to the mask and I stuck this piece of PVC pipe in there to attach the head, and that's when I noticed that it was not dry on the inside. It's squishy right there. It's got some gas trapped in there and it's still moist, so I'm going to need to get some air in there so that it will dry properly. I'm going to peel the foam away from the mask, but I'm going to keep this foam in here. It will reattach itself when the wet part dries, and it is already shaped like the mask. I don't want to start all over with the foam, so I'm going to keep this piece but peel it away so it will dry. As you can see, it's gooey, and when that dries it will stick. Also, the piece of PVC that I stuck in there will help air get down in there too. And I'm going to peel it away all the way around, and it'll take a little bit more time now for it to dry. But eventually I will add a little bit more foam in there to give it some shape and make it solid. And then after it was all done drying, I painted it. I wanted to use a lot of white because there was a lot of white in the fur on the body, and a little bit of red too, so that it matched the body and looked like it fit together. This prop will be seen at night. It won't be seen on the daytime hayride trail, so it doesn't have to be perfect. But I want to use a lot of white so it will be visible at night. Holding the camera and painting at the same time was not very easy to do. But as you can see, I'm trying to put a little red in there with the white so that it matches the body. I'm going to have to turn the camera off. I did leave the area around the eyes brown, and I left the hair on top brown. I want it to stand out more, make it more noticeable. I think if I painted it white all the way, the eyes and the nose would not be as noticeable in the dark. And this is what the guts look like after I painted them and I zip tied them to the body. I think it turned out okay. And I also painted the fabric and plastic that was hanging down and added a little more paint to the fur. And this is the end product. Can't really see the guts behind the trees there where I placed it, and it looks really white right now. After it got rained on a couple of times, it looked a little better. I don't know if you could see the PVC piece going out for an arm. One of them's holding a staff with some bones attached to it, and the other one's screwed to the tree. And there's some PVC pipes coming down in the back too. Thanks for watching. I hope that this was inspiring to get you to go out and make some kind of mythical creature yourself for your haunt. Thanks for watching.